From the heart of the alien war council, anticipation shifts to confusion and dread as their most terrifying human target reacts unpredictably. Amid the cold, mechanical observation, the invaders confront an unsettling human defiance. The tension deepens as a cryptic human message shatters their assumptions, signaling a power shift that promises devastating consequences. The council chamber hummed with cold light and precise geometry. The high, vaulted walls of the Draxcal observation spire were lined with hollow screens pulsating with spectral data streams, each showing real-time views of the target world below. Earth, the jewel ripe for conquest. Councillors sat in tense ranks, their elongated forms shadowed beneath bioengineered exoskeletons that flickered with alien runes. At the center, High Commander Zerath's multifaceted eyes narrowed, feeding on the swirling chaos of battle unfolding on the planet's surface. Phase 1 complete. Invasion fleet enters Earth's upper atmosphere. His voice reverberated, like tectonic plates shifting. The images showed sleek dreadnoughts slicing the sky, each vessel a floating fortress dripping with energy weapons and gravitic disruptors. The aliens had mastered warfare, refined it through millennia of conquest. But what they did not anticipate was the human response. The screen zoomed into a dense urban sprawl, the last human stronghold. A blip of light appeared on the perimeter, and then, in a shock that sent ripples across the chamber, a colossal electromagnetic pulse detonated from Earth's surface. The invaders watched as their ships spasmed violently, shields flickered, engines groaned in protest. The pulse was localized, precise, an EMP from an unknown terrestrial weapon. Yet the aliens' surprise turned to horror when the next event triggered. From the rubble, a human figure emerged, small, unarmed by alien standards, yet emanating an undeniable presence. The figure raised a gauntleted hand toward the sky, fingers curling into a fist. The signal broadcast was brief but clear, and as the alien holoscreens tried to decode it, a raw, unfiltered phrase echoed in the chamber. "You've awakened the wrong world." Murmurs, if such a thing existed in Draxcal biology, rippled through the council. Zerath's mandibles clicked sharply. "Impossible. Our intel marked humans as primitive. They should surrender. A lesser species. A pitiful backwater world," they had reasoned. Yet the human defiance was palpable, reverberating through their advanced systems like a virus. In the next feed, the perspective shifted. Commander Sarah Morrow crouched behind a shattered concrete pillar, her helmet's HUD flickering with fragmented telemetry. Around her, her squad moved like shadows in the ruins of a broken city. The alien invasion was brutal, but humanity was brutal too. Her voice was calm, a low murmur into the comlink. "Pulse deployed. Target EMP grid. Neutralized 4 incoming fighters. Repeat, 4 fighters down." Beside her, Dr. Elias Chen adjusted his bio-nanotech interface. "The aliens underestimate our capabilities," he whispered. "Their cloaking tech interferes with standard detection, but we've reverse-engineered their gravitic stabilizers. It's why the EMPs work so precisely." Sarah glanced up, eyes catching the faint shimmer of an enemy dreadnought cresting the ruined skyline. "They think they own this fight. They don't know fear yet." The countdown began in her mind, every second ticking closer to the final stand. The human spirit, raw and unyielding, was preparing to strike. Back in the council chamber, Zerath's voice dropped into a whisper laced with something like dread. "They will burn us all. This is not conquest. It is survival." And the message that sealed the moment rang through the chamber, the last word before silence fell. "We don't fear the stars. We fear nothing." The power shifted. The invaders, once hunters, were now the hunted. The shattered cityscape was a labyrinth of twisted steel and crumbled concrete. Smoke curled lazily into the darkening sky, blotting out the stars. Commander Sarah Morrow moved with a quiet urgency, her boots crunching over broken glass and scorched earth. Around her, the remnants of humanity's defenders kept tight formation, every pair of eyes sharp, every muscle primed for the next alien strike. "Echo Team, report." Sarah's voice cut through the comlink like a scalpel. "Holding perimeter." "At Sector 7, came the steady reply from Lieutenant Vega. "Minimal casualties, but the enemy's adapting. Their drones are recalibrating." Sarah's jaw clenched. They had anticipated resistance, but what no one had fully understood was how rapidly the invaders could evolve. The aliens recalibrated, adapted, altered tactics in minutes. Yet Earth had a secret weapon beyond tech, something the invaders could not pass: human unpredictability. In the distance, a low rumble vibrated through the ground. From behind the ruined skyline, massive dropships, hulking behemoths bristling with plasma cannons and kinetic disruptors, descended. The battle was escalating beyond reconnaissance and skirmishes. It was becoming a war of annihilation. Dr. Elias Chen knelt by an ancient transmitter, his fingers dancing over the controls of a jury-rigged device, blending alien nanotech with human engineering. "We've managed to integrate their quantum cloaking resonance into our own systems. Soon, we can mask entire battalions from their sensors." Sarah allowed herself a brief smile. "Good. Let's make them ghosts." Suddenly, the air quivered. With a high-pitched drone, the unmistakable sound of an alien strike drone locking on, Sarah threw herself flat as a plasma bolt scorched the ground inches from her helmet. "Incoming! Get down!" The soldiers scrambled, returning fire with pulse rifles that burned blue-white in the dusk. As the dust settled, Sarah's visor flickered with a live feed from the drone. The machine was not just a hunter, it was an analyst, calculating the weaknesses of every human position with terrifying efficiency. "They're not just attacking, they're learning," Sarah murmured. "Adaptation at the speed of war." Meanwhile, deep within the alien flagship, Zerath paced the command deck, eyes blazing with something almost human: fear. "Commander, the humans' resistance exceeds all predictions. Their use of EMPs combined with adaptive nanotech counters, our gravitic shields. Our fleet is taking losses," reported a subordinate, dread thickening his voice. Zerath's mandibles clicked sharply. "We are the apex predators of the galaxy. How can a primitive species resist so fiercely?" The alien scientists at his side exchanged worried glances. "They possess a form of symbiotic nanites that can disrupt our energy flows. Unlike anything catalogued in the Galactic Codex. But why? Why do they fight so hard? What drives them beyond survival?" Zerath's voice lowered, an unfamiliar tremor threading through the alien syntax. Back on Earth, Sarah crouched beside a makeshift communication array, fingers steady despite the chaos. She keyed in a message, raw, unfiltered. "To the stars, Earth remembers, Earth will not kneel." The transmission was brief, but the subtext echoed through the network. A warning, a promise. The invaders had come seeking conquest. Instead, they found a reckoning. The night was thick with the acrid scent of burning metal and ozone. Fires crackled in the distance, illuminating the jagged skyline like the dying embers of a world on the edge of collapse. But beneath the chaos, something else stirred, a quiet fury simmering like molten lava beneath a frozen crust. Captain Narrated, commanding the Human Resistance's Rapid Response Unit, crouched behind a derelict hover truck. Her breath fogged the visor of her helmet as she surveyed the advancing alien forces. Their sleek armor shimmered faintly in the firelight, alien glyphs glowing ominously across their chests. "They think our desperation will break us," Nara muttered, voice tight. "They don't understand the cost we've paid, the lives lost, the ground soaked with our blood. Her squad moved silently, weapons ready. Each soldier was a story of sacrifice, hardened by loss, yet steeled by determination. The alien dropships hummed overhead, releasing swarms of spider-like drones that scuttled over the rubble with eerie precision. They swarmed toward human positions, tearing through barricades with laser pincers and grappling claws. "Drones incoming!" Nara shouted. The squad opened fire, pulse rifles tearing through the mechanical onslaught, but the drones were relentless, fast, adaptive, and seemingly impervious to standard munitions. Dr. Elias Chen appeared at her side, clutching a small device pulsating with blue light. "EMP charges," he said urgently. "Use these. They disrupt the drone's neural nets." Nara nodded sharply, distributing the devices. "Aim for the swarm centers. One pulse, and they fry." The first charge detonated with a thunderous crack, releasing a spherical burst of electromagnetic energy. Dozens of drones convulsed mid-air, sparks flying as circuits fried, but for every drone disabled, 2 more took its place. "This isn't just technology," Elias said, voice grim. "It's evolution in motion. Their systems adapt to our counters, almost instantly." Suddenly the ground trembled beneath their feet. A colossal shadow blotted out the flames. A massive alien walker, towering over the battlefield like a living mountain. Its multi-jointed legs crushed vehicles and debris, and like its plasma cannon locking onto Nara's position. "Fall back," she ordered, but the alien's blast was swift, obliterating the barricade and sending the squad sprawling. Nara rolled to cover, heart pounding. Her comm crackled with static. Then a cold voice spoke. "Captain Vell, evacuation is imminent. Command orders a full tactical withdrawal." She gritted her teeth, knowing this was more than a retreat. It was a concession of ground that could never be reclaimed. Back on the alien flagship, Zerath's multifaceted eyes flared with frustration. Their resilience defies logic. How do they sustain such losses and continue fighting? A junior scientist spoke hesitantly. "Their biology is unique. Fast cellular regeneration, combined with advanced nano-augmentation. It is unlike anything we have encountered." Zerath's gaze hardened. "We will crush them, or be crushed. Prepare the neural disruptors. If their bodies are beyond our weapons, we will strike their minds." Meanwhile, Sarah Morrow adjusted her helmet, voice calm but resolute. "They think breaking our bodies breaks our will. They don't know the heart of humanity." Her team moved through the shadows, each step a promise of resistance, each breath a declaration Earth would never bow. The air was heavy with the hum of power, raw, charged, and lethal. Deep within Earth's underground command bunker, a maze of steel corridors and blinking consoles. Commander Sarah Morrow stood before a holographic map, pulsing with red and blue markers. The alien invasion fleet pressed closer each hour, but here, beneath layers of bedrock, humanity prepared its deadliest gambit. "Dr. Chen," Sarah said, eyes scanning the map. "What's the status of the nanite cloaking arrays?" Elias's fingers danced over a compact console, his voice steady but urgent. "Operational at 83% efficiency. The quantum resonance is stable, but prolonged use risks systemic burnout. We can keep battalions cloaked for short windows, enough to launch surprise strikes." Sarah nodded, the weight of command heavy on her shoulders. "Good. We'll need every advantage. The enemy's neural disruptors will come soon. We have to neutralize them before they're deployed." A sudden alarm cut through the bunker's sterile silence. Red lights flashed as sensors detected an incoming energy signature, something unlike previous strikes. Sarah's heart quickened. "Report," she ordered. "Unknown weapon approaching fast," came the terse response. "Not a drone, not a ship. It's a missile, but cloaked, almost invisible to our scans." The crew exchanged anxious glances. Cloaked missiles were an advanced alien tech. Earth's defenses had no full counter yet. Sarah clenched her jaw. Deploy the EMP grid. Target sectors Alpha through Delta. We'll blind it before impact. Outside, the sky roared as a ripple of electromagnetic pulses erupted from hidden ground stations. The missile's cloak flickered, then collapsed. A glowing spear of plasma slicing the atmosphere. It slammed into the outskirts of the city, detonating with a blast that sent shockwaves through the earth. The bunker trembled, but held. From the shattered ruins, Sarah's voice crackled over the comlink. Damage is extensive, but the command center remains intact. We will hold. Meanwhile, aboard the alien flagship, Zerath's exoskeletal fingers clenched. They resist with ancient tactics, primitive yet effective. Their defiance is maddening. Subordinate replied, "Their use of EMPs combined with nanotech integration is unprecedented. Their will to survive is driving their evolution." Zerath's eyes flickered with something alien, fear mixed with grudging respect. "Prepare the neural disruptors. If their bodies cannot be broken, we will shatter their minds." Back on Earth, Sarah stared into the glowing horizon. The battle was no longer just for territory. It was a war for the soul of humanity itself. Dawn bled red across the battered city skyline, casting long shadows over streets scarred by war. The remnants of humanity's resistance gathered at the edge of the ruined metropolis. Fighters battered, weary, but unbroken. Commander Sarah Morrow stood before them, her voice steady despite the fatigue etched deep into her bones. "We've fought tooth and nail to hold this ground," she said, eyes scanning the faces of soldiers and scientists alike. "But the invaders will escalate. Their neural disruptors will come, and we must be ready." Lieutenant Vega stepped forward, clutching a compact device glowing faintly with a sapphire pulse. Dr. Chen's team developed a countermeasure. It's experimental, a nanotech shield that interfaces with the brain's synapses to block disruption signals. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Fear mixed with hope. Sarah nodded. "If it works, it will buy us time to strike at their command." Suddenly a tremor shook the ground beneath them. Overhead, the alien dreadnoughts unleashed barrages of plasma fire, turning stone and steel to molten slag. "Positions," Sarah barked. "Deploy the cloaked units. Engage the enemy's flank." In the chaos, Elias Chen calibrated his devices, sweat beading on his brow. "The disruptors are imminent. The interface must sync perfectly, or it could fry the wearer's neural pathways." Nearby, a young soldier swallowed hard, nodding grimly as she prepared to activate the shield. As the battle raged, human and alien forces clashed with brutal intensity. Plasma against pulse rifle, nanites against gravitic disruptors. The city became a crucible of survival, every street and alley a battlefield where hope and despair tangled. Amid the storm, Sarah's comm crackled urgently. "Command reports alien neural disruptor ships entering Earth's orbit. They will attempt a global broadcast within the hour." Her pulse quickened. "We cannot allow that." "Prepare the EMP arrays," Elias said. "We'll jam their neural waves, but it will take precise timing." The clock ticked down as humanity braced for the assault, not just on their bodies, but on their very minds. The cold void of space outside the alien flagship was a silent witness to the unfolding chaos below. Commander Zerath stood at the bridge's panoramic viewport, watching Earth's atmosphere flare with relentless bursts of EMPs and plasma fire. His once unwavering confidence now flickered like the dying stars in the distance. "Neural disruptor deployment in progress," his tactical officer announced, voice tense. Zerath's multifaceted eyes narrowed. "Activate the quantum shields. Prepare for mental wave broadcast. The humans must be broken." Aboard the ground command bunker, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Sarah Morrow and Dr. Elias Chen stood side by side, their eyes locked on the screens tracking the approaching neural disruptor ships. sleek vessels humming with eerie energy, designed to project devastating psychic interference across continents. "We only have minutes," Elias said, fingers flying over his console. "The EMP arrays are charged but vulnerable. One wrong move, and the entire network collapses." Sarah's voice was steel. "Then we don't fail." As the neural waves rippled through the atmosphere, soldiers equipped with the nanotech shields convulsed but held firm, their minds shielded from the invasive psychic assault. Others without the devices staggered, clutching their heads, screams echoing through comm channels. "We're holding the line!" Sarah yelled into her mic, voice urgent. "Maintain formation. Focus fire on. Disruptor ships." From orbit, the alien ships faltered as EMP bursts from Earth's ground stations began to overload their systems. Flickering shields and cascading energy failures rendered several vessels dead in space, tumbling like fallen gods. Zerath growled in frustration. "Their resilience is unnatural. We underestimated them." The bridge alarms blared as systems collapsed one by one. Panic rippled through the alien crew, a sensation foreign and deeply unsettling. Back on Earth, Sarah's comlink crackled. "Command to all units, push forward. This is our moment." Human forces surged through the ruins, cloaked units striking from shadows, pulse rifles blazing, nanotech-enhanced warriors tearing through alien ranks. In the chaos, Sarah's voice broke through the storm, cold and unwavering. "We don't just survive, we fight, we endure." Zerath's vision blurred as systems failed around him. The invaders' reign of terror was unraveling. The fear they brought to Earth was now theirs to bear. The alien flagship shuddered, lights flickering erratically as systems crashed one by one. Commander Zerath gripped the console, his many, eyes scanning for a way to regain control. The crew around him were frantically attempting repairs, but it was clear the tide had turned. "This cannot be," Zerath hissed, voice thick with disbelief. "We are the supreme force of this sector. How have they defied us?" His second-in-command, a slender figure named Zalreth, leaned forward. "Their use of combined EMP and nanotech is unlike anything we've encountered. They are evolving during battle." Zerath slammed a fist against the console. "Then we evolve too. Prepare the gravity mines. If we cannot break them with tech, we will break them with terrain." Below, the remnants of humanity's resistance moved through the shattered city, planting the mines deep within strategic choke points. Captain Naravel led her squad with precision, every step a calculated risk. "Once these go off, the walkers won't have footing," she told her team. "We don't just fight fire with fire, we fight fire with earth." Suddenly, distant tremors shook the ground. Alien walkers, towering behemoths of metal and energy, began to lumber into the minefields. The first explosion rocked the city like an earthquake, sending a walker crashing into a collapsed skyscraper. The alien forces faltered, confusion spreading like wildfire. Zerath's voice crackled over comm channels, strained but commanding. "Regroup, target the humans' command nodes. We end this now." But the humans were ready. Sarah Morrow's tactical unit coordinated swift strikes, cloaked soldiers slipping through enemy lines to sabotage weapon systems and communications. In the shadows, Elias Chen monitored the battlefield through his neural interface. There, neural disruptors are offline. The mines disrupted their energy grids. Sarah's voice cut through the static, fierce and triumphant. "This is our world. We don't just survive, we dominate." From the rubble, a new sound rose. Human cheers mixed with the staccato rhythm of pulse rifles. The invaders' fear was no longer a whisper, but a roar. Smoke curled around the crumbled walls of the city's ruined industrial sector, casting long shadows that flickered with the eerie glow of fires still burning deep within the rubble. The scent of scorched metal and ozone filled the air, mingling with the acrid tang of sweat and blood. Captain Narrated moved silently through the debris, her squad trailing closely, weapons at the ready. "Report," she whispered into her comm. "Alien. Reinforcements inbound," replied Lieutenant Vega. "But their numbers are dwindling. The mines and EMP strikes hit hard." Nara's gaze hardened. "Good. We keep the pressure on. No mercy." Behind her, Dr. Elias Chen adjusted the settings. On a portable nanotech injector, its blue light pulsing steadily. "This device can accelerate cellular regeneration in injured soldiers. We've integrated alien biotech with our own. It's risky, but it works." A young soldier, barely more than a boy, stepped forward, his arm trembling from a recent wound. "Will it hurt?" Elias gave a reassuring nod. "A little, but it'll save your life." Nara crouched beside the boy. "We're not just fighting to survive anymore. We're fighting to win." Suddenly, a deep rumble shook the ground. Alien walkers emerged from behind a shattered overpass, their glowing eyes scanning for targets. The air shimmered as cloaked. Human units activated their stealth fields, slipping past the behemoths. Nara raised her rifle. "Take them down, quietly." The battle turned into a deadly dance of shadow and light. Humans struck swiftly, sabotaging alien armor joints, planting charges that detonated with surgical precision. The invaders roared in fury, but found themselves outmatched in tactics and tenacity. On the alien flagship, Zerath's composure fractured. "They use our own technology against us. This is not war, it is annihilation." His second-in-command's voice was grim. "Their will is beyond logic. They fight with rage, with heart. Perhaps they are more than primitive." Zerath's eyes narrowed. "Then we will make them less." Back on Earth, Sarah Morrow's voice rang clear over the comm. "Prepare for final assault. This ends now." The humans moved as one, a relentless storm of flesh and machine, driven by a fury born of survival and vengeance. The horizon burned with the fires of battle, casting an ominous orange glow over the desolate wasteland that was once a thriving city. The air was thick with ash and the relentless hum of alien machinery. Commander Sarah Morrow stood at the helm of a battered hovercraft, eyes scanning the horizon for the approaching alien command ship. Behind her, soldiers moved with calculated precision, the experimental nanotech shields clinging to their skin, pulses synced with their heartbeats. Each step forward was a step into the jaws of death, but none faltered. "Target locked," Lieutenant Vega reported, voice steady despite the tension. "Their command ship is vulnerable, shields at 50% and dropping." Sarah's voice was calm but fierce. "Deploy the gravity mines. We hit them hard and fast." The ground beneath them trembled as human teams triggered the mines planted days before. The resulting shockwaves crippled the alien walkers guarding the command ship, their massive legs buckling under the force. Above, the alien flagship's bridge erupted in chaos. Zerath barked orders, but the alien systems were failing fast. Neural disruptors offline, gravitic shields faltering, the invaders were losing their grip. "Prepare for boarding," Zerath growled, determination hardening his voice. "If we cannot win this battle, we will take their world with us." Sarah's heart pounded as human boarding crafts pierced the alien ship's hull. She led the charge, pulse rifle blazing, moving through corridors drenched in flickering emergency. Lights and alien glyphs pulsing faintly. The clash was brutal and intimate. Metal and flesh, ancient hate and desperate hope collided in a deadly ballet. Sarah faced Zerath in the command chamber, a towering figure of exoskeletal armor and cold, multifaceted eyes. "You underestimated us," Sarah said, voice low. "But unwavering," Zerath snarled. "You are more savage than any species we've encountered." "Savage enough to survive," she replied, raising her rifle. The final confrontation was more than a battle, it was a reckoning. The air inside the alien command chamber was thick with tension, a deadly stillness broken only by the hum of failing machinery and the distant crackle of structural damage. Commander Sarah Morrow and Zerath faced each other amid the wreckage of shattered consoles and flickering holodisplays. Zerath's many eyes glimmered with a mixture of fury and reluctant respect. "Your species is unlike any we have encountered. Your tenacity, your capacity for sacrifice, it defies our logic." Sarah's grip tightened on her pulse rifle, her voice steady but fierce. "We fight for our home, for our people, and we will never bow." Suddenly, a tremor shook the chamber as the ship's integrity systems began to fail. Warning lights flashed in a chaotic symphony of red and orange. "The ship is collapsing," Elias Chen's voice crackled through Sarah's comm. "You have minutes before this place becomes a tomb." Zerath's expression hardened. "This war is over. For now, but remember, fear is not just your weapon, it is your fate." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Maybe, but today fear belongs to you." With a final, defiant blast from her rifle, she turned and sprinted toward the exit, the alien commander's roar echoing behind her. Outside, the remaining human forces fought desperately to escape the collapsing flagship as explosions tore through the hull. Cloaked soldiers covered each other's retreat, while Elias coordinated the emergency nanotech injectors to heal the wounded on the move. The battlefield was littered with the fallen, both human and alien. But the victory was theirs, carved from sacrifice and relentless will, as the flagship finally exploded in a brilliant fireball against the dark sky. Sarah stood among the survivors, battered but unbroken. The invaders had learned what fear truly was. The silence after the storm was deafening. Ash drifted like snow over the shattered remains of the alien flagship, now a smoking ruin sprawled across Earth's horizon. The sky was tinged with the bruised purple of twilight, a somber backdrop to a battlefield scarred beyond recognition. Commander Sarah Morrow stood amidst the rubble, her breath steady despite the fatigue that weighed down her limbs. Around her, survivors tended to the wounded, their faces etched with exhaustion and grim determination. "Status report," Sarah commanded softly. Lieutenant Vega approached, eyes shadowed but burning with resolve. "Alien forces are retreating. Their remaining ships are limping back to orbit, some with critical damage. Their neural disruptor technology has been neutralized. We've won a decisive victory." Elias Chen nearby adjusted his glasses, face pale but relieved. Their tech was impressive, but their arrogance was their undoing. They failed to anticipate the adaptability of human innovation and spirit. Sarah looked toward the distant stars, a new clarity settling over her. "We fought not just with weapons, but with heart. We showed them the true cost of underestimating humanity." Suddenly, a transmission crackled through the comm, fragmented, distorted, but unmistakable. A message in the alien tongue, altered by human code. Sarah's eyes narrowed. "What is it?" Elias leaned in, decoding. "A message of surrender and a warning." Sarah's pulse quickened. "Warning?" Elias nodded gravely. "They call it the reckoning. Whatever that means, this war may only be the beginning." The survivors exchanged uneasy glances, the hard-won peace fragile and uncertain. But one truth remained clear. Earth had stood its ground, and humanity had learned how to instill fear in the hearts of invaders. The dawn broke cold and unforgiving over the battered earth, painting the scars of war in hues of silver and ash. Commander Sarah Morrow stood atop a ridge overlooking the city, the weight of victory and loss settling deep in her bones. Around her, the hum of recovery filled the air, the rebuilding of a world nearly lost but fiercely reclaimed. "Today we rebuild," Sarah said quietly to the gathering survivors. "Not just our cities, but our resolve. The galaxy has seen our spirit, our ferocity. They know now that Earth is no easy conquest." Elias Chen approached, holding a small device, a remnant piece of alien tech, now repurposed and understood. This will accelerate our recovery. We've barely scratched the surface of their technology, and it will propel us into a new era. Lieutenant Vega smiled grimly. They thought us primitive. They thought us weak. They were wrong. Suddenly, the sky shimmered, not with enemy ships, but with a message broadcast in a language both alien and familiar, a symbol of uneasy respect. And warning, Sarah's eyes met Elias's. The reckoning is coming. Elias nodded. But this time we'll be ready. The survivors gathered, united and unbroken, facing the uncertain future with a fierce hope born of fire and fear.